Right, as football appears to be coming home, I think we should talk about which team deserves to go in the bin and which teams deserve the respect of football fans. And I'm not talking about the footballing performances either. I am talking about which teams have cucked themselves to a Marxist race-baiting movement these players naively think is aimed at stopping racism. When, let's be honest, any idiot with half a brain cell can see it's there to divide, not unite, and further the political aims of these tosspots. Shit, even a few base national teams and their associations have come out and said as much, but we will get into that later. Now though, for a bit of a backstory for those oblivious to this bullshit, it is all of course going back to last year and the BLM protest movement that arrived like clockwork in time for the US election, much like it did in 2016. No coincidence there, of course, it just happens that way every 4 years in the run-up to elections against Donald Trump. But as most will know, some crackhead low-life criminal with convictions coming out of his arsehole, including sticking a gun to a pregnant woman's belly while his friends robbed her house, died in American police custody last year. Now, despite there being no talk or evidence of a racist motive, Black Lives Matter marches sprung up and spread across the Atlantic like the fucking bubonic plague. Activists in the UK picked up on it and marched in support of the American BLM group, resulting in the BBC, otherwise known as the Bolshevik Broadcasting Corporation, claiming 27 officers were injured during a mostly peaceful protest. This despite one copper being hospitalised after protesters threw shit at her horse and it bolted into a traffic light. It really sounds peaceful, I'm sure you would all agree. On top of that, we also had statues attacked in London, pulled down in Bristol, and the media openly supporting this lunacy alongside the Labour Party and more. Shit, BLM activist Sasha Johnson, the Oxford Black Panther, decided to create her own Taking the Initiative political party, which is BLM with a new name off the back of this bullshit. Of course, ironically, she recently headbutted a mostly peaceful bullet fired her way by 4 black guys who did not agree with her claims that Black Lives mattered very much. In fact, I would argue these guys don't think they matter at all, let me tell ya. Now, I should also point out that BLM in the UK ignores the statistics over here that show only 9 black people died in police custody over a 10-year period, while 144 white people died in the same period, and of course that does not mean the police fucking killed them. Most died from drug overdoses, but the figures there do not back up the BLM mantra no matter what way you swing it, proving it's just a bunch of Marxist bullshitters out to further their agenda with the support of the woke wank-stained media. Essentially though, the whole thing was a politically motivated clusterfuck being continued by these woke wank-stained footballers who literally don't know their arsehole from their earhole. I mean, imagine being multi-million-pound football players thinking bending the knee is going to help black people or anyone else in any way. It's just a virtue signal, as I've said 100,000 times before. This, I expect, is why most national teams at the Euros did not bend the knee, alongside the obvious fact political gestures like this go against the rules UEFA laid down themselves before 2020. Oh, and let's not forget, the footballing bodies tried to ban the fucking Poppy, the absolute scumbag, so cucking to BLM is just the ultimate piss take to fans in my opinion. But as I was saying, the knee-bending cucks were the minority at the Euros, and the Sun has pointed this out, so let's see what they said. It headlines, which Euro 2020 teams have taken the knee, and did Denmark kneel against England? Well, it says kneeling, but that's just some stupid cunt, let me tell you that. Obviously, it says about England being embroiled in a row before the tournament, but they weren't really embroiled in a row. The fans booed them and then they come out and condemned the fans. The fans just told them to fuck off and have continued booing them. Of course, the media have run damage control by playing cheering sounds over the booing, but let's be honest, it's the media. It's the kind of shit we expect from them at the end of the day. Next up, we got Wales. It says Wales has taken the knee over the past year and continued to do so throughout 2020, though they weren't in it for very long. Their interim manager Rob Page said, "We had a meeting and we think it's all still important to take the knee. That's the message we've given out. We're all in it together and there were no issues." Yeah, there was issue with the fans, let me tell you that. Up next was Belgium, who it says Belgium were the only non-British team to take the knee throughout Euro 2020. Romelu Lukaku said of any negative reactions, "I don't care. I fight for diversity." Of course you fucking do. You fight for virtue signalling, you worthless tosser. He says not only for the black community, also for women, colour, sexuality, faith, it doesn't matter. Everybody should be respected. Then get off your fucking knee, you worthless cuck. Up next we got the based Hungarians, who, let's be honest, were never gonna bend the knee. They're not a bunch of cucks, as you know. It says the Hungarian FA were the first association to confirm they were not gonna take the knee at Euro 2020. In a statement they said they view the knee as a political gesture in defiance of UEFA and FIFA rules. It reads, "The basic values of the sport are equal opportunities, respect for the teammate and the opponent. Football may have become the most popular sport in the world because it belongs to everyone. The Hungarian national team not only follows the international rules and norms in all cases, but also pays tribute to everyone, be it an opponent, a fan, or anyone else. The rules of UEFA and FIFA do not allow politicisation on the pitch and in the stadium either, which the MLS said not only accepts but also agrees with. The national team will not express its condemnation of any form of hatred by kneeling before the matches. During the warm-up games against Ireland, Hungary pointed to the UEFA Respect logo on their sleeves, something I actually made a video about at the time, along with the Irish fans booing their team. It says here, the gesture is thought to be hugely unpopular with a core group of Hungarian supporters. No, I think it's just unpopular with Hungarians in general. Up next though, we got Croatia. It says England's first opponents at Euro 2020 did not take the knee in any of their matches. However, they did point to the UEFA Respect badge on their shirts against the Three Lions. An official statement read, "CFFF and the players are against any form of discrimination. Both the FA provides the players with the right to choose, as the act itself isn't part of a Croatian culture or heritage, and they want to protect that obviously." Up next we got Denmark, who they played last night. England's semi-final opponents took the knee against the Three Lions last autumn, but have not done so at any point in their Euro 2020 matches. And when England took the knee, the Danes remained standing and applauded the gesture, as they did against Wales and Belgium earlier in the tournament. Which, okay, I'm not sure if they applauded the gesture or just applauded in general, so they weren't standing there looking like a bunch of mugs as the England players did. Either way, they didn't bend the knee, which is all that matters. Up next we've got Russia, who, let's be honest, were never going to take the knee anyway, so I'm not even going to bother talking about that. The crowd at St. Petersburg did also boo the Belgian team, who chose to kneel, so that's quite funny, I think you would agree. Up next we've got Holland, or the Netherlands as it says here. They did not take the knee in any of their games. Captain Giorgio Wijnaldum, who is black for anyone who doesn't know, commented, "We have talked about that, but we decided not to do it. We're trying to bring attention to the issue in a different way. Actually, only the players who play in England are used to this kneeling, because only players who play in England have made themselves cucks." And the rest of it goes on about LGBT and all of that there, but we're not interested in that. This is about kneeling, we can deal with that another day. Up next we've got Austria. Despite taking the knee in a warm-up game against England, Austria did not take the knee in any of their Euro 2020 games. Up next we got North Macedonia, who didn't take the knee in any of their 2020 games. Ukraine has not taken the knee in any of their Euro 2020 games either, and did not do so against England, and have made no statement about the gesture. They've given it literally all it deserves. Fuck all. Up next, we got the Czech Republic, who didn't take the knee. I'm not going to continue reading it because it's literally just saying all the same thing. It's essentially just the British who are a bunch of cucks. Up next, we've got Spain, who it says, while some La Liga players have shown solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, the Spain team has never taken the knee, and their clubs also tend not to. Real Madrid did not take the knee against Chelsea, Liverpool or Manchester City, while Villarreal chose not to kneel against Manchester United in the Europa League final. When Granada played Man United, only Brazilian winger Kennedy took to the knee. Spain have not taken the knee in any of their Euro 2020 games so far, because they're not a bunch of cucks. Up next we got Sweden and Poland, who also did not take the knee at any of their Euro 2020 games, though as we know the polls are quite based, and let's be honest, Sweden's the only one that's had any sense over the past year, so it really doesn't surprise me that they didn't take the knee. And finally we have here Slovakia did not take the knee in any of their games of Euro 2020. France also only took the knee during a warm-up game against Wales, but not their second one against Bulgaria. They were expected to kneel throughout Euro 2020, but changed their minds at the last minute. It says the French were criticised in some sections of the French media after kneeling against the Welsh. No, it's got nothing to do with kneeling against the Welsh, it's just because the media over there, like here, are a bunch of woke tosspots. Oh, and sorry, for some unknown reason they've decided to stick Scotland at the bottom. It says originally they said they wouldn't take the knee prior to Euro 2020, but then the Scottish FA confirmed they will promote an anti-racist message by standing before matches, then a day later deciding they're going to cuck themselves and kneel with England the pussies. So essentially what this is saying to you is that the British are a bunch of cucks and everyone in Europe seems to be a hell of a lot more based than we are. I do know for a fact though that most people in this country are pretty based and don't agree with the woke bullshit, especially not BLM, but let's be honest, any of the woke bullshit they would rather not listen to if they could.